Hello there, one and all, and thank you very much for tuning in to episode 572 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise. Probably 4 videos is one too many. With me, Persolaise, live on YouTube as always. If you have watched all of them today, if you've stuck around for all 4, thank you very much. But of course, you're not obliged to do that because the recording is always here for you. We have a comment from Alex who says something new from Captain Kirk. Hello, everyone. Absolutely, hello to everybody. I do mean what I say. You are welcome whether you're watching the live or you're watching the recording. Please feel free to leave a comment or ask a question regardless of whether you're watching the live or you're watching the recording. And please do consider subscribing to my channel, giving the video a thumbs up if you like it, and also do consider supporting my work through Ko-fi or through my Substack. You will find links to those in the video description below. Anyway, we have made it to the final one of today's videos where we will try to give you a fairly succinct, quick review of these 2 kind of new releases from Maison, Francis Kurkdjian. Le Bergamote says, my interest in this brand has never been so low. Please tell us why. What we've got from them is a new scent. I think it's been around for a couple of months, called Kurky. And I don't know, I suppose in French, would that be pronounced Kurky? I don't know. I think he should have made one called Captain Kirk. Probably would have got in trouble with somebody, but I'm holding out for a Captain Kirk perfume. Perfumed by the Sea says, really wasn't keen on Kurky, but I do adore Apom, which is what a part of me, right? I have a bottle to open for my birthday. Wonderful, happy birthday when it comes. And also the reissue of Le Beau Parfum. This is something that he's done very lately, and if you don't mind, I'll read from his own website. It says, for years, Absolu pour le matin, Absolu pour le soir, Le Beau Parfum and Reflet d'Ombre belonged to the rare category of cult yet confidential fragrances shared only with insiders like friends and loved ones. I mean, basically, they were kind of virtually discontinued. Today, MFK is rekindling their flame with an exclusive collection called My Very Intimate Perfumes. So it's My VIP, right? This re-release is like a celebration of heritage, refinement, and a newly available timeless luxury. I invite you, he says, to enjoy this sensory experience through a journey beyond time where each fragrance tells a forgotten story that is ripe for revival. And I thought, as we've done a few months ago, I think as we did the reissues of Absolu pour le soir, Absolu pour le matin, and we looked at Reflet d'Ombre as well, I thought we should do Le Beau Parfum. So let's start with that one. We have pre-sprayed blotters. But both of these perfumes, I have to say, I thought I was going to go a certain way in my assessment of them. And then as the day progressed and I sort of smelt them a bit more, I found myself thinking sort of unexpected thoughts. MFK, Le Bergamote, I do mean sincerely, if you're able to, I would be very fascinated to find out why your interest in the brand is so low. Because MFK has got a curious position. There are lots and lots of people I know of in perfume circles who rate the brand highly and respect what it has achieved and actually quite like a lot of their perfumes, a lot of the perfumes that Francis Kurkdjian has made for them, but don't love any of them and haven't bought any of them and don't wear any of them. Now, I think that has been a deliberate strategy on Captain Kirk's part, not to not have people buy his perfumes, but actually go for perfumes that occupy a kind of middle ground. Perfumes that come from an independent-minded brand. I mean, his brand is now owned by LVMH, and of course he is in-house perfumer at Dior, but perfumes that come with that kind of independent spirit and yet have a sort of mainstream sensibility, which they pull off, which they achieve through good quality ingredients. Perfumes that, you know, let's say that ordinary folks would be quite happy wearing to an office. Now, of course, there were outliers. Absolu pour le soir was an outlier, and it didn't do very well. Thank goodness it's now back. In a way, Baccarat Rouge 540 is an outlier because that is quite an odd scent, but I suppose it it hit just the right note of oddness to take off and become a monster hit. I mean, it's a huge, huge, huge hit for the brand, and I suppose it helped that it presented its oddness through the sort of conduit of sweetness and malted notes and caramelized notes. Alex says independent spirit but totally mainstream. That kind of thing. Now, Le Beau Parfum, to me, summed up that kind of good mainstream, innocuous mainstream quality well. Because I first smelt it, I don't remember it from, I think it first came out in 2015. I don't remember it from 2015. I must have smelt it at the time. I don't remember it. I smelt it and I thought, yeah, Captain Kirk loves his orange blossom. This has got a very, very definite orange blossom note. He loves his translucent, luminous florals. This feels like it could be a kind of variant of, almost like a sort of variant of J'adore, but maybe done with orange blossom. And by that I mean a floral note that is actually kind of shimmering with a golden quality. But it's also got those quite mainstreamy sorts of musks in the base. It doesn't shout. It's very pleasant. If Chanel's Chance went into this sort of floral territory, it could be yet another Chance flanker. Rita says, is it the same type of orange blossom that's in Love Don't Be Shy? Oh, I can't remember. Le Bergamote has given us an answer. Thank you very much. I don't find them interesting enough to even put on skin these days. I only own Absolu pour le Soir and Aqua Vitae. Now, see, interesting. So you and I guess, go for the same ones because I adore Absolu pour le Soir and I was so pleased when it came back. And I also really, really like Aqua Vitae. Very different from Absolu pour le Soir, but also actually quite interesting, quite haunting and ghostly in its own way. But as the day progressed and as I kept sort of smelling Le Beau Parfum, I actually thought, this is doing what it's meant to do, what it's setting out to do, actually really rather well. And it's not descending into unpleasantness and it's not descending into cheapness. And then I kind of thought, oh, it's maybe the clue is in the name. Maybe it's just meant to be a pretty perfume. Now, I don't know French well enough to know exactly what all of the connotations of Le Beau are. I mean, because I suppose that means beautiful. But it's also, isn't it also quite a throwaway comment if something is beau? I mean, isn't it the old adage that, when a perfume smells nice, we would say nice in English. Don't they say ça sent beau or something like that? And I thought, yeah, it smells nice, without becoming crass and cheap. It is definitely not like the latest mainstream, I don't know, Versace something or other, or Dolce & Gabbana something or other. It doesn't make you run for the hills. It just does what it does in a very quiet, very unassuming way, very expensive way, because it's £230. Le Bergamote says, but aren't all of his perfumes pretty, but they feel like small talk to me? See, I don't disagree. I think some are more pretty than others. I think some fade away a little bit too quickly or just become a little bit too insipid. This one, I would just kind of go one up from you and I would say it is kind of small talk, but it does the small talk well. It's the kind of small talk where if you've been to, a gathering or a party, I remember being invited to those, like 30 odd years ago, before when people still wanted to hang out with me. It was the kind of thing where you left and you thought, okay, it was just small talk, but it was actually quite pleasant and I enjoyed myself. Do you know what I mean? It's harmless. It's harmless pleasantness. Millard says, my 4 favourites from MFK are Grand Soir, the Masculine Pluriel, Gentle Fluidity Silver, and Épomme pour Homme. I can't remember whether the pour homme and the pour femme épommes exist, because I think it's now just a part of me. And I think my brother really liked Gentle Fluidity Silver, or did he like gold? I can't remember exactly now. Rita says, I think there's nothing wrong with nice. Sometimes all we require is something nice. Gavin says, Dior has destroyed its own legacy. Going to their in-house perfumer is not an advert for him or his brand. Going to their in-house perfumer is not an advert for him or his brand. I'm being dense, Gavin. I'm not sure I'm not sure what you mean. Oriana says elegant small talk is gentle fluidity. Maybe he does elegant small talk really well. Where's the pre-sprayed one? Pre-sprayed is here. Actually, let me just see what they say about it. Because maybe the prose here is now going to be, you know, grand, sweeping, epic statements, and I'm going to be thinking, not so much. Right, inspiration. Le Beau Parfum is a bold and addictive eau de parfum. See, okay, don't do the whole bold thing. Inspired by the effortless elegance and contemporary Parisian silhouettes. Featuring jasmine, tuberose and ylang-ylang, Le Beau Parfum unfolds like a bouquet of sunny flowers. I mean, okay, it is a bouquet and it is sunny. A sophisticated sillage for a bold signature. My Very Intimate Perfumes is an exclusive collection, etc., etc. And it has notes of ylang-ylang, I'm clicking here, orange blossom, jasmine grandiflorum, and tuberose. Okay, so they may be selling it in a way that I wouldn't quite, but it's pretty. It's pretty, and I think it's done well. Pre-sprayed Le Beau Parfum. Oh, Mitrikai says, I think older releases of MFK were trend-setting and fantastic, but new releases are, while nice and mass-appealing, they're not comparable to the older releases in quality. Well, discuss, I suppose. Well, we're going to get on to Kurky. So this is Beau Parfum pre-sprayed. Yeah, it's a very pleasant musky floral. And it is a not, because a lot of the stuff, you know, that you get in the mainstream that is trying to be a pleasant musky floral is a kind of crass, cheap, difficult to take musky floral. And this isn't that. Now, Kurky is interesting in a very different sort of way. Kurky would be very, very easy to dismiss, and I'm still undecided. I think I'm veering towards not dismissing it. It's a very expensive thing to not dismiss. Now, this is meant to be, the blurb is interesting. It says, Kurky is a poetic invitation to reveal our inner child. With a burst of spontaneous, carefree laughter, Kurky, with its fruity, musky notes, encourages us to see life in colour and to be filled with wonder again. And look at the actual the artwork that goes with it. Can you see that? Yeah, so it's done like a kid's notebook and kids' drawings and the name written in a sort of, I guess, what's meant to be a childish handwriting. What you get in this perfume is essentially musk, with a kind of hint of citrusy, fruity notes at the top, but it's musk. It's a musk scent, and you know, when I first smelt it, I just kind of thought, okay, so he's charging, and this isn't cheap either. Okay, so Kurky is where are we? £185, I believe, for 70 mils. So it's not in the 200 something bracket. But I wouldn't be being complete with my review if I didn't say that when I wore it, really very, very often throughout the day, I'd sort of get a whiff of these really beautiful, there must be a very good quality musk in there. I don't know my musks well enough to say what it might be, or it's a good, you know, a blend of good quality musks. It reminds me of the musks that have been used in Chanel's eau de cologne, the last time I smelt the eau de cologne. I mean, maybe it's something like ethylene brassylate, because that has a kind of fruity, kind of blackberry-ish to it as well. But throughout the day, I kept getting these whiffs of a musk that didn't make me think of Febreze, didn't make me think of Lenore, didn't make me think of other fabric softeners are available, whatever they happen to be called wherever you live, and actually made me think of a really, really clean, elegant, happy musk. Because again, you know, like I was saying with Le Beau Parfum, that kind of idea in the mainstream sometimes degenerates into crass cheapness. Well, musks, as we all know, can also very, very easily degenerate into a kind of overdosed synthetic musk horror. But this doesn't. And I think that is quite interesting in a way. Rita says, this is so different to what I've been looking into today. I was late as I was online shopping for Andy Tower samples. Oh, I hope you managed to get some. Perfumed by the Seas says, Kurky, I'm not sure what the purpose of it is. It doesn't give me childhood nostalgia. I wanted to love it, but it smelled too plastic to me. Now, see, interesting. Now, musks are also dangerous because I think some people believe that none of us can smell all of the musks that are out there, and we are all of us anosmic to some musks. And I think that's why when perfumers use musks in their perfumes, they try to use at least a couple or three to ensure that, you know, as large a number of people is going to be able to smell them. I didn't get nostalgia. I mean, maybe I didn't grow up with the right sort of, you know, laundry musks, but I did just a couple of sprays on my skin, not on fabric, and the stuff kept me company in a very, very kind of unassuming way throughout the day, and I confess I was impressed. It was almost like the musky bit of Chanel Eau de Cologne without the citrusy cologne bits, if you see what I mean. If you wanted to go straight to the musky, suave bit, you know, the bit that people smell only if they come really close to you, then that's what Kurky is for. What does the brand say about it? Kurky, the affectionate nickname of Francis Kurkdjian in his youth, evokes an insatiable desire for freedom, a perfume that encourages you to see life in colour, to dream and be amazed again. In a creamy and mouth-watering cloud of white musks, Kurky distills fruit notes reminiscent of tutti frutti candies. Okay, it's not that sweet. A composition thought of as a great burst of laughter, a smile and a ray of sunshine, an invitation to awaken the child within us. Amazed enough for dreams, carefree enough to make them come true, Kurky is the gourmand fragrance for grown-ups who dare to dream like kids. I mean, I'm not sure about gourmand. They're calling it a gourmand musky accord, and they say that it also contains this tutti frutti accord. I mean, gourmand is going to put a lot of people off because it isn't actually that gourmand. It's musky. It's slightly fruity musky. Risk aversion is owning the perfume output in a big way, says Oriana. Do you mean from them? Maybe. Johnny says, I own a few, and Homme à la Rose and Oud Extrait. The Oud, thank you very much. I loved his first Oud. Really, really loved his first Oud. And Oud Extrait are far enough away from mainstream to be interesting, and yet they smell lovely to me and most others. I agree. La Bergamote says, I guess I just like a pebble in the shoe, as Rodrigo Flores Roux said. Yes, well, so do I. But, you know, I'm trying to give as balanced a review as possible, if you see what I mean. Who's that? Raluca says, for me, Kurky is childhood in a bottle. Interesting. It reminds me of the little candy that I used to eat when I was a child, a very common sweet in Romania in the early 90s. Interesting. So it works on you. That's fascinating. Sophia Groisman says, Aurora Borealis says, knew how to use musks in an interesting way. I agree. I really miss the smell of dark, dirty musk, says Alex. I'm not very fond of white musk fabric softener vibes. Fair enough. And who's that? Tool Q8 says, I hate gourmands somehow. Maybe I don't want to smell like a cake. Well, there are gourmands and there are gourmands. And where's pre-sprayed? Oh, hang on. Here's pre-sprayed. Now, the other thing as well is that if you do go past a shop that's selling this, you need to spray it on skin, because musks really, really, really need skin to blossom. But although the musk note is coming through here, it also reminds me a little bit of a really, really fun, easy to wear musk attar that Amouage did years ago. I'm pretty sure it's not in the current attar lineup. And I think that was also just a lot of diluted synthetic musks. But there's something very cleanly and non-threateningly intimate about that smell. Now, you know, we could have a whole discussion as well about whether Captain Kirk is taking the mick a little bit by, you know, charging £185 for 70 mils of this stuff, but some musks are expensive. Some musks are generally really expensive. I don't know. Okay. Phew, we are done. Thank you very much for watching. If you've stayed tuned for the entire marathon, I'm very, very, very grateful. Send comments, questions, give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Stay tuned to social media for info about more videos coming your way. And do check out the Harrods Meet the Perfumer events. If you can come along to some of them, it would be great. I plan to go to as many as possible as well. But until then, wrong button. Be good. I will see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye now.